Hello everybody, my name is Aud and welcome back to the Aud Narrations channel. Today we're reading a story about a husband of 20 years had an affair after a bad year. If you enjoy this video and want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button, that way you won't miss the latest upload. Ready, let's get started. So, I, 40 female, just recently found out that my husband, 45 male, has been having an affair with a woman at work. Something about him doing the most cliche thing in the book makes me even more angry and makes me feel like an even bigger fool. I feel like I'm in denial. This is not somebody I ever thought would or could do this. I had no inkling, and I feel like everything I've ever thought about is completely shaken. He was a good guy, somebody I completely trusted, somebody I've never once suspected of cheating on me. He was honestly my best friend. And I don't say that in the cheesy way or as some married couples say, that sort of thing. I trusted him implicitly with absolutely everything and felt so safe and protected by him. We've been together for 20 years, married 15. We have 3 kids, 13, 5, and 9 months. Our relationship was so good. I mean, after 20 years, it's not like I get butterflies every time he walks into the room. But yeah, sometimes I still did. I continuously had moments where I'd think, I'm the luckiest girl in the world to have him as my partner. I've thought one of the only things I've done right is pick a great husband and give my kids the best dad I could possibly give them. We get along, we like doing some of the same things. Not one of those couples who obsessively has to do everything together though. We still have our own hobbies and our own friends. We disagree on some things without turning into fights, and we still had sex regularly. I thought we had a happy, healthy home. But then, the past year and a half happened. First, we had an unplanned pregnancy, and then his brother died unexpectedly. I've sensed that something about our relationship changed sometime during my pregnancy, but I couldn't put my finger on it, and admittedly I didn't really talk to him about it. He changed this past year. It was as if he's still trying to pretend to be himself and doing a pretty good job at convincing some people, but he just wasn't the same happy person I've known him to be. He used to be a glass half full kind of person, positive, motivated, energized. It was the most difficult year as far as our relationship goes. There were no big fights or anything like that, but overall, there was less affection. More minor bickering, more time spent separately. More just getting under each other's skin. I was waiting for him as soon as he came home from work on the day I found out about his affair, and I confronted him right away. Since then, I've read all about keeping your cards close to your chest and not letting your cheating spouse know that you've discovered them until your ducks are in a row. Screw that. I was sobbing and seething. There's no way on earth I could have pretended to not know for a minute, let alone weeks. He cried. He said he was sorry over and over again. He said he loves me and he loves our kids, and he made a really big mistake. It was a conscious choice over and over again. He begged me not to leave him. He knows he's an asshole, and he never wanted to hurt me. He said he had a bad year, and the affair was nothing more than an escape for him. He's not in love with her. He said nothing made him feel happy this year, and he was in a fog and made this bad decision. He swears he's never cheated on me before, that I'm the love of his life. He doesn't know what he was thinking, but he was just not himself this year. Yes, his assessment on not being himself is the only part I can agree with. We were done having kids, but didn't take any permanent steps to prevent it. Surprise! At 39 years old, I experienced the first unplanned pregnancy of my life. Ultimately, we decided to have the baby. It was a joint decision at the time, and it seemed like I was the more undecided one. He just naturally seemed to assume that we'd made a baby, so we're bringing it into the world now. I gave birth the same week I turned 40. Wow. The decision definitely changed some plans we had, and it was changing things for us financially. I left my job when my youngest was born. I was extremely unhappy and very stressed with my job, constantly having to bring home work and work well beyond 49 hours a week. It was really unhealthy for our family, and he expressed concern that he didn't know how I'd be able to handle the stress of my job and a baby. I felt the same, as I already felt like I was slipping with everything in my personal life because of this job. I just refused to quit previously because the pay was so good. I didn't want to give that up. He makes a good living. He's been with the same company for 25 years, since he was in college, but I know he feels stressed and like he has a big responsibility being the sole provider now. Then his brother died unexpectedly this year. He's devastated by it, but trying to pretend like everything is fine. I think he fears that if he lets himself truly feel all the emotions over it, he'll completely fall apart and not be able to function. These are feelings he expressed to me a long time ago about other difficult things in his life. He just feels he always has to be the strong one, soldiering on for everyone else. But it's really affecting him. His parents are just a mess over it. We had to take on sole duties of helping them. They're divorced, so 2 separate households. I just don't know what to do. On one hand, I want to divorce him. I always thought if somebody cheated on me, there'll be no second chances. I feel really strongly about cheating, and that it's always wrong and unforgivable, full stop. Now, I don't feel 100% sure about leaving. I love him, I love our family. The thought of divorce terrifies me. The thought of not being with him terrifies me. I can't imagine him not being my husband anymore. It's a really tricky situation. To be honest, I don't know what I would do in that situation myself. On the one hand, you have the betrayal, but on the other hand, you have the context of the family. Especially the newborn. And juggling all of that. Let's see what the comments say. Someone's left a comment saying that is a lot. The community does read these posts. People are hearing you and empathizing with you. Someone else left a comment saying, you spend a lot of time in this post justifying his actions, which I find interesting. If you had been the one to cheat because of a tough year, what do you think your husband would do? What about when other tough years happen? Likely inevitably. Will you trust him to stand by you then? You don't have to make any immediate decisions, but don't forget, he's the one who broke your marriage, not you. Not even if you choose divorce. Don't let any guilt about that affect your choices. Someone replied saying, from reading your post, I believe the relationship with the affair partner was an emotional affair and maybe a physical affair before your pregnancy, but the pregnancy changed his plans. Were they talking about divorce from their respective spouses? Were they planning on a long-term relationship? Or were they just in love with being in love? Limerence, I think it's called. His attitude towards your discovery suggests he was planning on leaving at some point, but the cost of paying child support for 3 kids for the next 18 years may have deterred his plans. OP replied saying, maybe I'm just too gullible, but I didn't necessarily get the feeling that he was planning to leave me to be with her. I do acknowledge that he was going to continue seeing her and lying to me about it indefinitely. I still just don't understand the full depths of it, I guess. He sort of convinced me, or I let myself be convinced, that it was just physical. I know it doesn't make sense, though. Someone replied saying, you're not gullible, you love him, and your rose-coloured glasses are still on. I think when we love someone, we trust them with our whole heart, because they're supposed to love us back. Yeah. I saw this interesting quote somewhere. Can't remember where. And it was like, falling in love is like giving someone a gun to your heart, and trusting them not to pull the trigger. I think this is why cheating is so painful, because we have to accept the hardest thing of all, that they don't love us the same way, or respect us. His affair was a whole other relationship that probably lasted a year, if not more. Like most, it probably started out with being an emotional affair, lunches, conversations, complaining about partners, life, job, and then flirting, sexting, and then came the physical part. The affair is still going. They've just gone underground. He's abusing your love and your kindness. He's emotionally blackmailing you and making you feel guilty about his misdeeds. Just because you are currently a stay-at-home mother does not mean he can cheat, and you should just get over it. Someone left a comment saying, how did you find out? Does the affair partner work with him? And has he ended it? OP replied saying, I found out completely by accident. I had absolutely no suspicion and wasn't snooping for anything. I was purchasing some pet supplies from Petco, and they had a coupon going on to get $20 off the first pickup order. I was making a pretty large purchase, so I figured I could split into 2 orders and get 2 discounts of 20. I signed up once under my email and once under his email. So I went into his office where he has his Mac always on and logged in. I was just going to look at his email to get the coupon code. It didn't arrive right away, so I was just sitting for a minute waiting, and I saw email receipts for hotel reservations. He had booked hotels in town really close to his work during the middle of work days. Immediately, I could only think of bad reasons why he'd do that. It was like somebody knocked the wind out of me when I saw that. He had forwarded a few things to her email address at work. I seemed to immediately know that he was cheating with her at that point. I don't have details, but I knew enough to know it wasn't innocent. Then I eventually got into the cloud and found some photos of them together, not sexual or anything, but like they were a couple out somewhere other than work. I then found a few inappropriate pictures of her on there as well. It was hard evidence for me, but I guess some might consider it circumstantial. He confessed to it when I confronted him, and did not try to convince me of an innocent explanation. They worked together. I don't know her at all, but he forwarded some emails to her work email address. I went to the employee directory on the company's website and confirmed it was definitely a woman. They have everyone's name and picture on the website. I've never even heard of this woman before. He's worked there 25 years. She's a relatively new employee and he never mentioned her to me. Then I saw the same woman in pictures he had on his phone. Someone replied saying, it sounds like it was more than just physical if he was posing for pictures with her, like they were on dates. He was basically taking her out, spending your marital assets on hotels to have sex with her. I hope you took pictures of that and saved the inappropriate pictures. You need to go to a lawyer to weigh your options. It sounds like he's basically trying to love bomb you to pacify you so you won't divorce him, but he's keeping all his options open. He's had nothing happening to him. Go to a lawyer and find out your options. He needs for you to put the fear of losing his family and assets into him. What an absolute piece of shit he is. I have lost in the last 8 years both of my brothers and my father, plus I have a special needs child, and moved back into the family home with my husband and child to help my mother. Guess what I haven't done? Had an affair. Instead, I turned to my husband for support. We've grown closer since all of this. Your husband sucks, and you do not deserve this treatment. Someone else left a comment saying, has he ended his affair? Is he looking for a new job, or has the affair partner left? Post-nuptial agreement, full STD screening, open phone and electronics policy, counselling are the bare minimum requirements, but only after he's told his affair partner it's over completely and blocked her everywhere. OP replies saying, he says he hasn't talked to her for 2 weeks. How can I even trust he's telling the truth, or he's actually ended it? They're both still working there. He told me, I've worked there for 25 years. I have a huge client base. I'm not going to leave. I told him this is very disrespectful to me, that he put that over me and our marriage. He was like, do you want to continue to be able to stay home? Do you want to continue to live here? I'm not going to start over somewhere else. I'm sorry. Someone else left a comment saying, so he's admitted that he's still cheating and planning to cheat, as any contact at all means the affair continues. As long as they work together, they're still having an affair. Him not instantly realizing he must leave means he's putting his affair and career before you and your family. Never stay with someone who tells you you're insignificant. If he cared at all about his career, he shouldn't have been fucking a co-worker. OP, I hope you have a comprehensive STD/STI test done and contacted lawyers to get divorce custody started. You need to do this as soon as possible. Get him served at work. You'll see his truth in that moment. He'll either instantly try fighting for his family or run to the affair partner. You should not stay in this abusive situation, as cheating is abuse. It is psychological, emotional, and sexual abuse. He is your abuser, and he has now told you that you must accept the abuse. Please don't accept this. Tell family and friends exactly what he is doing, and make him face consequences for abusing you. If she had a partner, let them know. Look into the Grey Rock method and the 180 method. Read the resources at www.chomplady.com and www.survivinginfidelity.com. Alrighty, so what do you think OP should do? What would you do in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comments. Alrighty, we'll have to finish that for today. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.